I thought it was winner take all, Megan. I guess I'm wrong.
I don't know how it works either. I just usually pick for colors. So I wear orange and I like that color.
Not a bad color.
Yes, well, all right, let's take a look at the forecast out there today. Color on the radar is green. We also have a possibility of some thunderstorm.
Good, Megan.
I know, I was on vacation when we filled those brackets out, so I would have been number one.
Clearly.
You'll just not have to, you'll never know. And that's the deal. All right, guys, talking about a forecast out there which is not going to be number 1, 2, or 3. We've got showers and fog out there this morning. Could make driving around town this morning a little on the difficult side because we're going to have reduced visibility, especially in Lake and Cook counties, and then those showers kind of coming and going throughout the day. Showers are likely, in fact, in the forecast through Thursday, so it's not just today. It's today, it's tomorrow, and it's the day after that. The best severe weather potential looks to be south of I-80 tomorrow afternoon. Now today, along a warm frontal boundary which is parked across Chicagoland, we do have the possibility of some isolated severe weather, but that's a very outside chance at this point. I just want to mention it to you in case you start to see a storm that appears to be strengthening pretty rapidly. That could happen this afternoon, but will certainly not be widespread. There is a dense fog advisory that is up until 11 a.m. The area is shading gray. That's Cook County. It's also Lake County, and then it's up towards Wisconsin. You can see the storminess is generally along that frontal boundary right there between Wisconsin, northwest Illinois, and Iowa, and it's kind of lifting on off to the north. So at this point, it's dry for a good part of Chicagoland, but you can see the volatility in the weather pattern around here in that we have all this heavy rain and some storms, and then there's some snow on the backside of the system. So there really is quite a bit to talk about here over the course of the next.
Might be a good idea to take a train today with it being so drizzly. It always slows down traffic.
Oh, I know. And you know what, this morning, you know, you got to watch out for like big trucks and stuff too, because it's easy to hydroplane. This morning that almost happened to me, and I was driving carefully. So just kind of keep a heads up because there is ponding on the roadways from overnight rain. So even if it's not raining right now where you are, we had so much overnight that you are for this time of the year, but not as mild as yesterday. Warm fronts, what's creating the rain this morning, but as it lifts up to the north, we see the rain lifting up to the north as well. Now we are going to see more in the way of some active weather back to the west, but for now, it's really getting a little bit better around the city. It's the northern border counties that are dealing with any sort of precipitation out there at the moment. Look back to the north and west, though. As I said, we have some real active weather here because that's a very volatile scenario, that it's mild enough here for storms and back on off to the west around the Dakotas. We're talking about some serious snow. It's April. And what we're going to see here is the possibility of a few flakes in the forecast on Thursday, but that's a few days away, and we don't expect ours to stick or be real plentiful, but you can see the potential for a mixed bag of precipitation a few days down the road. For now, it's this warm front that's parked across the area. So let me say this. This is the culprit for any kind of rain today. As it sort of dies out around the area, depending on where it parks, to the north of that frontal boundary, some folks were going to struggle to hit the 40s out there today. That's mainly going to be north of us. But the closer you get to the front, to the northern extent of it, we are going to talk about the potential for temperatures in the 50s. South of that front, we're going to be getting up into the 70s today, but that's most likely to be south of our area, but that's how it's going to be. So if you are real far to the south across Chicagoland, you do have the potential for some really mild temperatures today. As the cold front comes through in a couple days' time, that opens the door up to that colder air and the potential for a little bit of a rain.
Megan and Derek.
You know it will, because even though it's not raining across the southern extent of Chicagoland right now, it did. So there's ponding on the roadways. You need to take it a little slow out there because hydroplaning is definitely a possibility. And then you get close to the lakefront, and there's a chance of some fun.
Let's check in with Megan. Is today a washout or just a partial mess?
No, it's not a washout. It's kind of like a partial mess. We see the rain that's pushing north right now. So for a lot of you, we'll actually start off with dry conditions, but we're going to maintain that chance of showers and storms throughout the course of the day today. Plus, it's going to be a little dreary, dreary appearance to the day if you're in Lake or Cook County here because of a dense fog advisory, especially expecting fog closer to the lakefront. And that advisory is up all the way through until 11 a.m. We look back to the west, and it's a mess of craziness, really volatile weather situation here from Omaha stretching back to Rapid City. We have a temperature drop. They'll go from like the 60s and 70s in front of the system today to temperatures very clearly cold enough for snow this morning. So we have a very interesting my money's still on the tornado.
Yeah, right, exactly. Spoken from a meteorologist.
Yeah, I'll take your advice.
I don't care what they're welding.
Right?
You know, if it picks barns up and their cars and semis,
It's going to pick that up too, huh?
Yeah,
Good
there's
bet.
a good chance. They probably, hopefully they know the weather enough to stay clear of the immediate path of danger, but those things are a little unpredictable in their nature. I mean, we're actually getting into that sort of season where now we're going to see the potential for severe weather, not necessarily tornadoes. Now lifting on off to the north, but I see storms west of Rockford. Those are also generally moving in a northeasterly fashion, but that may eventually graze some of you around Rockford, and we're going to keep an eye on those storms throughout the course of the morning. I want you to keep your umbrella handy because even when this massive rainfall pushes on off to the north, we still have the possibility of weather throughout the course of the day with the warm front parked in our vicinity, and showers and storms could spark along that frontal boundary. It kind of acts as the focusing mechanism for that development today. Back to the west, yes, that white stuff is snow. Yeah, it's April. They oftentimes get some pretty good snowstorms in the Dakotas in the month of April, but that sort of cold air is working in our direction, soon to arrive here with the possibility of a rain-snow mix. And what we've got today is that warm front, as I mentioned, kind of stalled out across Chicagoland, so we could see showers and storms firing up along that frontal boundary. North of the boundary, we're going to have temperatures in the 40s, well to the north, and 50s right along the front. South of that, some folks are going to hit the 70s today. So if your area is particularly far south in Chicagoland, your temperatures may be a lot milder than the rest of us. So something to keep in mind out there. Once the low pressure and cold front get a little closer, we're going to see the possibility of severe weather. That's namely tomorrow and probably south of I-80. Can't rule it out entirely today. Maybe a storm developing along that. You know they did that to their boy Kevin Ware, right? All right, guys, talking about a forecast out there today, which is
That's it. Spell it.
Kind of just make that generally across our northern border counties, stretching back to Rockford. Now, western area of Rockford, of northwest Illinois, that's where we have the heavier showers and thunderstorms right now. There is also a dense fog advisory to contend with this morning for Cook County and Lake County in Illinois. We've got